Council.
Hello.
First, order of business. Mm, Oh, sorry, I forgot. The Pledge of Allegiance. May you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, right hand over your chest. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may now be seated.
The first order of business, the mayor, Mr. Williams, will introduce us.
Okay. First, thank you for joining. I want to introduce you to this year's Youth Council. There are two people who will join us later, and I'll do the introductions once again. We have our mayor for this evening. We typically, what we do, we have a mayor every year and a mayor pro tem. Muncie volunteered to be mayor pro tem, but she's also served as mayor a couple of our meetings. So Muncie Trujillo, how did I do with that?
Good.
Actually, your correct first name is Montserrat.
Yeah.
And she goes by Muncie. Forgive my accent. And she is tonight's mayor. She is a senior from Ridgeland. Next to her is Leslie Escalante, also from Ridgeland, also a senior. I'm doing okay so far. How was the accent? Pretty good? Okay. Also from Ridgeland is Nichelle or Shell Patrick. Nichelle is actually in her second year on the Hardyville Youth Council. Joining us will be Mia Bush. She's from Royal Live Oaks Academy. She does serve as this year's mayor. She's running a little late. She works. And Dave Joseph, and he's a young man from Hardyville High School. So that's our youth council. There are others that couldn't make it. The youth council can go up and down. But these have been our most active members. I asked to join us today. I'll make introductions first, and I'll just go right down the line. Mr. Alex Navarro. And related to him, sitting next to him, is Veronica Navarro.
Hello.
Next is Ms. Blanca Martinez.
Hi.
And sitting over there is Judge Nancy Gutierrez. And Judge Nancy is our municipal judge. Now, the reason you all asked me to invite this group of people was because the students every year decide what they want to work on. One of the things they wanted to work on this year was feeding the hungry. And so earlier this year, they participated in two giveaways of food, one at Thanksgiving and one at Christmas. They joined with the Community Church of the Low Country and gave out 250 hams at Christmas and a box of food, and 250 turkeys at Thanksgiving and a box of food. But what the Youth Council did on the side, they organized with the police department, and at Christmas, they made hot dogs. And gave hot dogs and water to everybody who came by and got food. And also, the Youth Council gave out toys for Christmas for the kids. Okay. At Thanksgiving, we made soup and sandwiches and distributed those to the people who came through the line. So now, that being done, the Youth Council wanted to work on, because we noticed in giving those away, we wanted to work on helping particularly Spanish people who have moved into our community, who are not bilingual yet. And they noticed that perhaps they don't know how to navigate their new hometown. So they wanted to know, how can we help that community adjust to the new country and their new community? The first step was, well, how do we help? How can we as students help? And that's why they wanted to invite you all here tonight to give them whatever advice you can in terms of, okay, you know what, you deal with the Spanish community all the time. What's their concern? What areas do you think they can help this community in some way through the youth council? So what I'd like you each to do, if you don't mind, is address the youth council and share some experiences that you have with the Spanish community. How can we reach them? Because step 2, according to what the kids decided last month, was that we want to invite the Spanish residents community to come into a meeting and then talk to them directly. So stage 1, get some help from you. What are they looking for? Where they need help? And number 2 is bring them in and seeing if we can talk to the residents directly. Did I say that right? Okay. So please, let's start with Judge Nancy. She lives in Hardyville. She's our municipal judge. And and please make sure you know how to run the meeting. I'm going to sit down. Any questions for each person, go in order the way you normally go and ask the questions of each speaker. And don't forget, everybody talking to the microphone, look for the.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. As the mayor for the city has introduced myself, I'm Judge Nancy Gutierrez. I will refrain from stating my address for various reasons, but yes, I am a resident of the city of Hardyville. One of the things, I've been here for about 20 plus years now, worked for the city for 17. So I have seen the growth that this city has been through. So yes, one of the things is the Hispanic populations. So the way to engage with them is, what does every family have? Kids. Okay. So how does word of mouth go around? School, right? So pretty much that's where, and that's the thing about the Hispanic community. You know, you tell one person one thing and it's like, oh, it spreads out. So somehow or another, people come to my office. Oh, hay una muchacha. There's a girl that speaks Spanish. Que habla español. And that's word of mouth. So in the schools is one area. The one thing that the city has been very successful is having events, and the special 4-letter word, free, and the community comes together. And that's when you give that information out. So that way the community can get together and we can be able to push out any information we need towards the Hispanic. The other thing is social media, Facebook, things like that. Actually, your idea, I was bringing it up along with the city clerk, Miss Cindy Oliver. We want to do that as well. We want to have like a town hall meeting, bring in the Hispanic community and give them information about how the city operates as far as business licenses, if there's fees or if you have questions of anything that pertains to the city. So that's a great idea. And if you need me, you know where to find me, which is at the police department and municipal court building. So the thing is trying to be involved in the community to the simple fact of just being at the Piggly Wiggly and talking to people and just saying, hey, how are you? And that's where everything kind of goes on, is talking to people and just being there, showing your face. I see an average about 20 to 30 people twice a week. So I see all kinds of people with different addresses, and that's what spreads on onto the next city and the next. So that's all I can say right now. If you have any questions, just jump right in. Just ask me away.
Thank you so much. Nichelle, do you have any questions?
I do not at this time.
Okay.
Leslie, do you have any questions?
On the social media, do you have any other ideas on specifically what kind of posts we could share or?
Well, you have these groups on social media. Example, Jasper County Ask and Answer, and probably y'all know Latinas al Rescate, all of that. Once you post once, people will start sharing. And that's when you get the word out. Because everybody has a phone, everybody has a smartphone. And even going to door helps too. Once upon a time, this was back in 2008, I believe it was not as populated as it is now. The city was doing a census and they were having issues trying to get the Hispanic population to participate. What did they do? They asked me to go with them, and we went door to door and we had the data that they needed. So sometimes that helps too. Just a simple fact, let's walk down on Main Street, knock on the door and say, hey, or leave a piece of flyer in their mailbox. And that's when you kind of engage the people, or even just sitting out there in your at the traffic. Well, we can just be at the traffic light, pass out flyers at the pig. That's how you get your word out.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
The question I would ask Judge Nancy is, we want to help new residents, right? That's your goal. So, do new people to our community and to our country, do they have the cell phones? Do they have, are they aware of this country's social media? Is that something that?
Yes, sir. That's actually, it's very surprising. As soon as a person arrives to the country, they get a phone immediately. And yes, it's before you get a house, I think you have a phone. But as soon as they get their phone, they automatically start engaging. Hello. Oh, you're fine. They start engaging in seeing, hey, where's the nearest Hispanic store? How do you get this, or grocery store, or shopping? So those are the things that we need to attack. So because once you arrive to a city on a Hispanic point of view, you have a phone, you look for your first Hispanic store, and where are your shopping centers, and where do you eat? After that, right? Am I wrong? No? Yeah? Okay. So, yes, sir. You're welcome.
Next, I'd like to introduce Miss Mia Bush, who is, she is in our second year of serving on the Youth Council. Also a busy young lady at school and work, and she has a million things going on. She was appointed mayor at the beginning of the year, and she did serve in that role a couple of meetings. Me and Muncie took over for you tonight, so you can just relax. Real quickly, who was just speaking? Judge Nancy Gutierrez of the City of Hardyville, the municipal judge. And next, I'm gonna go down the line as they speak, and I'm just gonna go on the line. And Dave Joseph from Hardyville High School. Dave?
Hi, Dave Joseph.
Our next panelist, I'll introduce is Ms. Blanca Martinez. Ms. Blanca is a Realtor, but she also, up on White Hardy Boulevard, next to Salinas Western Wear, you'll see El Toro Taxes. And she deals a lot with the Spanish community, when the consulate comes into town, her office is served for people to come and get their documentation and everything. And it's probably the longest line in Hardyville. So she touches a lot of people from the Hispanic community here in Hardyville. So Miss Blanca, you have the floor.
Well, thank you first for inviting me. It's an honor for me to be here with you. You inspire me because I was just like you in college and in high school. I always try to be part of the group to help the community. I agree with Miss Nancy. It's very important to advertising what you like to say to your other friends that probably they are not part of your team, and involve them in what you want to work with. Like if you want to inform to the community when they come to the country, I think so the first thing is you like in your school, you have a meeting with them, welcome them, speak in Spanish, and they will feel more welcome. They will understand what you will say and tell, okay, if you need some English classes, you can come to this and have like volunteers like to helping them. I know that you have the ESOL. I was a bilingual liaison in middle school in Hilton Head Island. And that helped them a lot. They feel like in their country because come here with a new language, new culture. It's like you go to China and you don't understand any word. It's the same thing. Then it's the first step, it's the basic one. I think so, like your group, I recommend, what I am in social media. They help me to doing that. I know a lot in social media, but they do for me. Is open a group with your name like that. We want for you, we are the board of the school and we like to do this with the new students or the new community or involve everybody. But like Latinas al Rescate, you need to open your own group. And each month, post one topic and will be open for everybody, not just for the students, will be open for all the community. And if you have one event, post it right there. But one topic for month, like now it's time for taxes. Okay, how you can do your taxes? Who need to do the taxes? Which one will be the income that you need to report taxes? If you will start business, like in high school, some students, they cannot work, they cannot keep in college, they have to work. Then they need to do taxes also. What are their rights? What happened is somebody talking about immigration, can be other topic that now everybody is concerned. I don't know if you're allowed to do that, but with the guide of your teachers or the head of the school or with the mayor, I don't know, address. What happened is they knock the door for you. You allowed to open the door or something like that. Many things you can help to the community, even to have rent. When they come here, they don't have anywhere to live. Sometimes they go with the family, or they are with other friends. Then, okay, we know that somebody's renting a property or something like that. Like in your with the people that you know it, or you can search somewhere else. We can help him with that, or one adult can help him with that, and advise them how they can start. Don't give everything, but you can give where they can study English, where they can find good places that they can give out the right information, not just to tell what they think. They need to know professional what they are doing to give advice to them, right? But one thing important is if you're doing the group in social media with your name, like the name of the high school that the counselor or something, and post one topic for a month, everybody will follow you. I don't know what to say. What do you like? Do you have one question for me? Or
Dave, do you have any questions?
No, this is perfect actually, because we were talking about in the last meeting about having a social media page so we can communicate, and they can communicate their concerns as well. So this is perfect, and that idea is great. Yeah. And what she said was like much more narrowed down. Our last meeting, it was much more broader, I think. And having a social media for specifically for this would be great. Yeah. Thank you.
Mia, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Leslie, do you have any questions?
Not at the moment.
Nigel, do you have any questions?
No, I do not.
okay,
I don't have any questions, but thank you so much.
thank you.
Our next speaker is Ms. Veronica Navarro, and she is involved, but I'll let her tell you, I'll do that with Alex. But she's a real estate agent. She serves with me on the board of Habitat for Humanity. She is the treasurer, I'm the secretary. I just get to sign papers and she does all the work. So next up, Veronica
Right.
Navarro.
Thank you. Hello, and thank you for having me. My name is Veronica Navarro. This topic is very personal to me. Reason being, I arrived to the States, St. Helena. I don't know if you guys are familiar with St. Helena over in the Beaufort area. When I was 11 years old, didn't know how to speak English. I went straight to school without knowing even how to say hello or hi. Okay. Times were very different. I'm going to tell you what happened with me and what helped me. And hopefully that'll give you an idea as to how much power you have, and how the smallest gesture can affect someone's life, attitude for the day, the overall life of a person, of a student who's just coming here. Again, didn't know how to speak English. I came to class and my classmates were very nice. At that moment, it didn't matter whether I was Hispanic or African American or white. I happened to be the only Hispanic at that time in the school, my sisters and I. There were no other Hispanics here in the area. So that may have something to do with it. But it got to the point where my teachers would actually stop the lesson just to make sure that I was understanding. And the kids were very patient. I don't ever remember being bullied. I don't ever remember feeling bad, feeling like a stranger, because I was very welcomed from the very beginning. And it wasn't neighbors. It wasn't the public at grocery stores or anything. It was my classmates that made me feel like I needed just to learn so that I could play, so that I could conversate with them because I wanted to. But it was up to me to be able to do that. And I did it because of how welcomed I felt.
So, an advice: be kind. The fact that you are here today says a lot. And I commend you for that. And I appreciate that. But it takes a village. And right now, our youth are very different than what they used to be back in my day. And I'm only 47, but still, it's been a huge difference from what it was then to what it is now, but what it can become again because of your actions. Okay? So if that helps. Secondly, that motivated me to then get involved with my community when I was, an adult. I became a realtor 4 years ago. And through that, even though, again, I've lived here, I've been in construction business, I run a very successful residential construction business for the family. But it wasn't until after I got into real estate that I started dealing with my clients, Hispanic. 98% of them are non-English speaking clients. Okay? Worked very hard, have been able to save a lot of money. But what they wanted is someone who can actually speak their language, help them understand the process. And so being patient in doing that, because it takes patience, having to translate, not only just do the job of the transaction, but to actually show that you care, that they understand what they're doing, because it's the biggest decision of their lives. One of them, anyways, is to invest in real estate. So I, again, got to know them, but I got to know their finances, even though that has nothing to do with real estate. But guess what? I needed to go the extra mile to help them understand not just real estate, but the lending process, the attorney, the legal process. Many of them now, many attorneys have Spanish speaking paralegals, but a lot of them don't. So again, it's up to me, not just as a real estate agent, but as a citizen, as a resident of this area, and as a community, is do the help, be willing to help, because it doesn't cost a thing. And it can make a huge difference in how your client, and therefore an extension, which be your community, is going to feel. After knowing a lot of, my clients, seeing this struggle in how they structure their business, they're successful. But a lot of businesses, and this doesn't have to do only with whether or not you speak English or not, if you don't you build a foundation that is firm, that is strong. In business, it's not only just the business itself, but it's getting the permits, it's getting the licenses, it's getting all of that. Help with that. Based on that, I created a nonprofit organization, Hispanic Business Association of the Low Country. It's nonprofit. All of the services are free. Again, you want to be successful. You want to make money. And that's what you're going to do eventually by, starting your business, going to college and starting your business at the same time. You're capable of that. But never forget the impact that you're going to have in your community, just by utilizing the skills that you have. You speak Spanish, great. Chinese, any language, just be willing to share that skill, because it doesn't cost a thing. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you. Nichelle, do you have any questions?
Your story is very inspiring, but no, I do not have any questions.
Well, thank you.
Leslie, do you have any questions?
No, I don't, but thank you so much.
Mia, do you have any questions?
I like to say thank you as well, but no, ma'am, I do not.
Dave, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I actually have a question. This experience of dealing with people who have trouble, like having a communication gap, right? Do you have any strategies that you want to suggest towards us that we can implement to help this case?
Sure. Know your audience.
Know your audience.
Know your audience, because if your goal is to actually get to, classmates
Yeah, reach out to them.
who could be in the same position that I was back when I was 11. As much as I, agree with Facebook, how many of you use Facebook? Exactly. Not so much. You know your audience and figure out how to get to that audience. Chances are Instagram or IG, it's going to be more effective.
Instagram.
Chances are TikTok is going to be more effective. Now, the community as a whole, the parents, which is very important to gather them, to bring them in. But that's more of a challenge for us adults. And that's where we can actually come together and help you. Like in the events that you make, you take care of reaching out to your classmates. Take the time, if you can, to identify how many of your classmates are struggling. Because they're not going to come to you. And they're not going to come to you because they may feel embarrassed. Again, times have changed a lot. And so if it's the cafeteria, don't be shy. Go to someone you don't know who you might think, they may or may not need the help, but just that presence, that effort to just say hello, greet them. Because again, I don't know that happens a whole lot anymore. And that will be very helpful. Because like I said, the parents we are trying in different ways, I think with different platforms, we're trying to get to the parents because there's that need as well. But the goal right now, for you on a daily basis with what you're doing, I think it will be very, very helpful and very beneficial to try to get to your audience, to those, classmates. Or right now, someone from other schools. This is a small town. So don't be afraid. And again, because you just don't know what kind of difference you'll be making with a simple hello. Un hola. ¿Cómo te llamas? Hi, what's your name? Yo soy Verónica. I've been a resident, of this area. Just try to start a conversation. I may be talking like a little old now. You may you may approach it in a different way. But the el saludo, the greeting, will never change. And that is going to make a difference. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Forgive me if I don't get up. Our next guest, Ms. Veronica mentioned the Hispanic
Business
Business Association of the Low Country that she helped found. The president of the Hispanic Business Association of the Low Country is none other than Navarro,
Yes.
Mr. Alex.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Alex Navarro. I live in Bluffton. I'm also an immigrant. I was born in Mexico, raised in Mexico, and moved to the States when I was 16 years old, right? I did also struggle when I came to the country, going straight to high school, trying to not only learn the language, but also the materials, right? Science, social studies, math, English. So it is difficult while you're trying to go through school and also learning the language. But it was easy for me because when I came to the States, I came to the state of Texas, right? Texas and the difference between Texas and South Carolina, that we have a huge diversity, right? And that helps. So that's something that we don't have here yet. We're moving in that direction, but we'll get there soon. So that helped me because when you guys were talking about maybe doing some hot dogs for your past event, we were having tamales at the cafeteria and we were having enchiladas at the cafeteria, right? So that's something that you might also think about it when you're talking to your school board and say, okay, how about we start with the menu? Because everyone coming into this country, right, they are not used to what we're eating here, right? So that could be a nice, easy change to integrate a Taco Tuesday or tamales or enchiladas during the week. Other states and schools are doing it. I joined the Marine Corps after high school, right? Sergeant, I see that in signals right there. That was an opportunity for me, right? And that could be an opportunity for many Latinos coming here. We have many resources to join the military. It's a great opportunity. So I'm happy to see that uniform there. Veronica said it. It is very important for you guys to know your audience, to be able to think about, okay, who are we trying to help and assist? To start, do any of you guys know what is the population here in Jasper County or Hardyville? And how many of the population are Latino? No? Okay. Well, that's not too hard to find out, but that's something that we can start with, right? Okay, so how many people do we lives here in Hardyville? And then for that, what's the percentage of the Latino community, right? So that we can start focusing on who are we trying to help and assist. Do you guys know that Jasper County, over 50% of the students in the public school are Latinos? It's a huge amount, right? So it's huge. Beaufort County is only 33, still huge, right? So the Latino community is growing pretty fast, but many of us who are migrants, we still need help. We need help to be able to adapt. And we come to this country to learn a new culture. We are willing to adapt. We just need help to be able to know where is the next park where I can take my kids, or as a teenager, where can I go and hang out, right? Where's the movie theater? Well, we don't have a movie theater here, right? Everybody goes to Bluffton. And after Bluffton, we go to Savannah. So maybe we need to create places where we can hang out here, right? Instead of going spending money somewhere else, we can spend the money here, right? Okay. So that's another thing that we can think about and go to the businesses and say, oh, we would like to do something like this. Trust. Trust is the biggest barrier that exists within the Latino community. Many people think it's the language barrier. It's not. It's trust, especially the Latino community. Our parents, ourselves, our grandparents, they do not trust in government agencies. They don't want to hear it. They do not trust in the police department. They don't want to hear it, right? So that is the biggest trust. The biggest issue is trust. So, but the system here is different. In general, government is different than when we come from our countries, right? So we need to change that mentality. We need to be able to educate them that, attending these type of meetings, getting close to the city, the government, the police, it is helpful, it is positive. But we need to work on it, right? And we need to work with not just the parents, but the teenagers, right? So hopefully you guys can implement or reach out to the police department and see how can we connect the youth within the police department and make more events and start at young age, not just high school. You can go to middle school and start that connection to start building trust, and that will benefit everyone in this area, not just the Latino community, everybody else. I've been living here for over 20 years now. I was able to spend some time in California and many different states while I was in the military. And I know the diversity is huge. It's a huge positive thing for every local economy. So the more diverse that we are, the better we will be. Your future, your kids, and the town itself. Right now, Hardyville is growing so fast that in its different point of views. And I'm saying this in relation to the Latino community. Okay, once you start looking at some of the data that I told you about, identifying who your target is, you will find out that I'll give you some numbers just so you guys can see the difference in how this affects policies and things like that, or ideas. The median age for non-Latino whites in Beaufort County is 55 years old from the entire population, right? And the median age for Latino in Beaufort County is 25. So there is a huge gap. You have Latinos, they're pretty young, they're 25 years old, the median age. And you have non-Latino whites, they're 55. So there is a 30-year difference. That's one generation missing, right? So that there's a huge disconnect, right? So ideas, proposals, procedures are not clicking because there's a huge disconnect. So knowing that, it will help you make the right approach, right? Because you want to connect with the youth, which is good, which is where most of the Latinos will be, right? So Veronica said, connect through Instagram, TikTok, find the places, but and also do it with the purpose in mind. And I know you guys are here because you're seniors and juniors in high school. That's great. But every time, if you're investing time on doing this, do it strategically, right? Create a strategic plan for your successors. Make sure so the next students who are coming in here can pick up what you guys left behind and continue that. Because this is something positive. Uh, I'll say thank you to you guys for being here. Thank you, Mayor, for this initiative. It's great. If you guys have any questions, you let me know. I'm here to answer them.
Thank you so much. Dave, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but thank you for informing us and raising the point of how we need to check our demographics to see what all are the people who are coming under our target audience, and the point about the age gap. I didn't know about that. That's a great plus point. Thank you for that.
Sure, you're welcome.
Mia, do you have any questions?
No, sir, I do not.
Leslie, do you have any questions?
No, I do not, but thank you for sharing that information with us.
You're welcome.
Nishelle, do you have any questions?
No, I do not, but I would like to ask to be excused.
Yeah.
Sure.
I just thought of one.
Okay.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay, sorry.
A point of order.
Point of POI.
Point of order, and this is important for you to learn whenever you're dealing with a group. Remember, it's a group thing. A, never interrupt the speaker. Okay, that's number one. But when you're in an official parliamentarian situation, the mayor or the chair has complete control of the meeting. So you have no ability to speak until you are recognized by the chair. So there's two things we have to go back on. Ms. Mayor, allow Nishelle to finish her thought, and then you can open it up for further questions. And then Dave, that's when, and it's not you, it's anybody. Because that's how meetings are kept order. If you don't keep order, then meetings can become chaos. And that's the chair's job, to make sure chaos doesn't happen. So, sorry for interrupting.
Nishelle, do you have any questions?
No, I do not have any questions, but I do ask to be excused.
You are excused.
Thank you for your speech. Thank you all for coming out. I have to leave though. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any further questions? Yes, David.
So we talked about our initiative with social media to reach out with the younger students who are Latinos, right? But what if, how can we reach those who are not as tech savvy, or the older demographic who don't use social media? How can we connect with them? Because they might also have concerns. So how can we reach out to them as well? Do you have any ideas?
Correct. Well, I'm going to give you my point of view right now when it comes to tech savvy. You don't have to be tech savvy to get on Facebook and Instagram right now. When it comes to the adult population, they are very involved on social media, especially the Latino community. 75% of the data they receive, what they consume, is through social media. And Facebook is the biggest one when it comes to the adulthood, right? So you won't have any problems reaching the adults. through, but you have to go through Facebook, right?
Okay.
Many of us don't have TikTok or Instagram just yet.
Oh,
We got stuck on Facebook.
so we can't ignore Facebook altogether. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll start. Even though I know Instagram and Facebook they're linked together, you can whatever you post on
Yeah,
one will
it's like a-
automatically go
Yeah.
into the next one. So that should be an easy access
Okay.
to it. But and last point, you really want to get like the judge was saying, go to their places. Have anyone been here to a quinceañera lately?
No.
Okay. There's a bunch of kids, high school kids at the quinceañeras, right? Well, that's a place to start and create some type of subcommittees because I know you guys want to help, but there are different topics for you guys to help. If you create a subcommittee and that person will be in charge of a specific topic, that will help you move faster and be able to reach out more people that way.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Mia,
you,
do you
guys.
have any questions?
Yes, I do. I had a thought. So you know how you mentioned the whole thing about trust and how that could be like the main factor why it's like a disconnect to that.
That's right.
You mentioned that like how like get like the police involved or like the government entities we have around. So how would we go about doing that if it's like okay, like for example, you say like we have an event, right? And then you say, oh, also like the Hardyville Police Department gonna be here. Wouldn't that like cause them not to come? Even though so like how would we like avoid that from happening or like make it more like welcoming or like
Well, this is one of the approach that I can do when it comes to the friendly faces, right? How do we feel when we see a person with a position of authority, like a police, right? We get scared, right?
Yeah.
They could be the nicest person, right? And they're here to help out. So having those friendly faces coming into a social event, maybe when we're playing soccer, right? We go and play soccer some other places come in, but and I've seen these TikToks all over the place also. When the police department shows up and maybe they play against the students, right? They take off their uniform so that students and the Latino community can see that they're not just police officers; they're also friends, they're neighbors. They live in the same community. We, the people, are the ones who form this community, right? So that's the type of interaction that we want to try to achieve, right? Bring them together in a neutral zone, and so they can realize that they're just like us, right? They have a job. Their job's a police department, right? Or, but they also play soccer and they eat tamales and they like to dance and play music. It's all the same. All right.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Okay.
Thank you.
Next, just real briefly, because there's a lot of things in the media about immigration today. I've asked our deputy police chief to come in and just talk briefly about what we as a community do in regard to immigration control situations that are going on. So, Deputy Scott, please, if you could just give our panelists and our students the philosophy of the Hardyville Police Department as it regards to people living in our community and their concerns about all the talk about ICE raids.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of council and mayor, thank you for having me. For those of you that I have not met, my name is Scott Caviglia. I'm the assistant police chief for Hardyville. I started here in July. I have 33 years of law enforcement experience. I retired as a police chief outside of Cincinnati, and this is my retirement job. What drew me to Hardyville was the work that had been done here, the growth, frankly, the community that's made up of all sorts of people. It's kind of the community I came from. So I've enjoyed my 6 months here. Chief Woodward sends his regards. Most of you know Chief Sam. He's coming off a procedure, much like the mayor, and he wishes he could be here. And he apologizes that he can't be. I'll just take a few minutes of your time. And Mr. Barr, you said a mouthful there. All of you did. It was really kind of neat listening to all of you. Things are different here. They're different everywhere. I've had the benefit of travel, right? So I understand things aren't the same everywhere. In the states, policing is made up of a number of different levels, right? There's the federal level, the state level, the county level, the local level. This is the local level, right? This is local government level. Local government level, local police in the country do not enforce immigration laws. Now, that can change with legislation, but that's not going to be anytime soon. So we have no authority over immigration laws. And that's really important for the communities that are marginalized to hear, because I know there are victims in your communities that aren't reaching to us because they're afraid, right? That's the point I want to get out now, right? Come to your local police department. Your immigration status does not matter to us in the least. It just doesn't. But I know you're being victimized. I know some people are even being terrorized, and they're afraid to come get help, right? Come see us. We're a friendly face. Come see me. We'll help you with whatever needs through it. Now, if we are contacted by the federal government, I swore an oath, much like some of you swear things in church and things like that. I swore an oath to uphold, protect, defend the Constitution of the United States. So I would be bound to help any federal operations in Hardeeville. But based on my experience, there are ways to do it if they ever come here. The federal government's not interested in areas like Hardeeville at the moment. They're just not. If they do come here, there are ways to do it in a professional manner built on trust, right? And some of that's going to be more your community than mine, right? I'll reach my hand across and I'll do what it takes. And trust is complicated, isn't it? You said it was a two-way street. It is. But I'm here for the community. I said when I was brought up here in July that I wanted to be the assistant police chief for all of Hardeeville, right? For all the residents of Hardeeville and all the visitors. So if you can just pass the word through your communities, through however it is, and I'll be reaching out as well, right? Give the local police department the benefit of the doubt, right? Let us help you, right? And if the federal government does come, that's a separate and distinct conversation, and we'll have it at that time, right? My mom always said, you know, I'll chew that food later. That's what my mom would tell me, right? That was her way of telling me not to worry about the future that I had absolutely no control over, right? She said, I'll chew that food later. That may or may not put any of you at ease, but I hope I've done my best, right? But the point I want to get is please trust us on the local level, right? If you're being harassed, if you're being threatened, if you're being extorted, if any of these things are happening, please come see us and let us fix it. That's what we've sworn to do. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you so much. Leslie, do you have any questions?
Not at the moment, but if you could get back to me, I might have one. Thank you.
Mia, do you have any questions?
Not at a moment as well, but I may have a thought in a second.
Oh, Dave, do you have any questions?
Not right now, but thank you for your talk.
Leslie, you may go ahead.
How do we as a community get people to trust the police department if you know how Hispanic communities are very strong to their belief and they're very strong-headed in what they think about government officials?
It is, and so much of that has changed. The Hardeeville Police Department has a number of Latino officers. I was speaking to Mr. Navarro right before we walked in here about recruiting additional Latino officers. So some of that will help out of the gate, right? To be a little bit more reflexive, because we are comfortable with who people look like us. That's okay, right? That's okay. It's reaching out across from that is how do we do that? So that's part one. Part two is, yep, I can stop at a soccer game and I can jump out and play and everyone's going to be cool with that. But here's the next part, right? Man, invite me to your stuff. I'll show up, right? My family's not down here yet. I got nothing to do. I'll come, right? But invite us, right? It's a little weird when you show up to a party and you're not invited, right? That's a little weird. But if you invite me, I'll come, and I'll leave when it's appropriate. But help me get in the door, right? I can get in the door on my own, but it's going to be weird. But if you invite me in the door, it's going to be different.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
No, sir, I do not. Thank you.
No, okay, I don't have any questions. Thank you so much.
I got some waters. Someone said someone wanted.
What I'd like to do, the next phase of our meeting is for you to decide what you want to do next, okay? There is one thing you may want to consider. Ms. Cindy, would you pass out to our guest and to the council what I asked you to print? This morning, are any of you aware of what the island packet is? Okay. I didn't expect anybody to. So 1 out of 4 is not bad. This is an article that was in the island packet this morning, and I printed it out. And it talks about, as the headline says, what the law says about complying with ICE. And what it is, this article really gives advice to the Spanish community, particularly when confronted with officers of immigration control. Tells you about not opening the door, whatever. And it struck me that the people who needs this information the most will never read this. They don't know what the island packet is. They don't know that this information exists. So one thing that you may want to consider, and it ties into what was talked about developing trust with the police department. Maybe one of the things that you can work on is advising the community about how to deal with their fears about being raided by immigration control. And like Chief Scott said, it probably isn't going to happen in Hardyville or Jasper County. But there's a lot of fear. And that's communication that they all talked about. That's trust. One way you may be able to establish trust is by teaching them. And this is something that if you read, when you read this, you'll see there's a lot of information that old people like me may read the island packet, but the people who need this information are not getting it. Maybe you can be the conduit to get that information to the community. So that's one of the things. So what you have to do, and Ms. Mayor, is guide the conversation. What you discussed last month is now that you've heard from community leaders, you wanted to invite and then talk to the community directly, by inviting them in. And when, where, they mentioned something, serve them tamales. Not a bad idea, right? Have it at dinner time. Remember how many hot dogs you gave away? 325 hot dogs we gave away, and we had all the sandwiches we had the time before. So maybe that's what you want to do. I'm just throwing ideas. It's up to you to decide. And give them information like this. Invite the police department to come and have them actually meet the police department. Nobody's going to be afraid of Scott once you meet him. I'm sorry, they should be afraid of him. But so now, just throwing some ideas in your head. In the remaining time, what do you want to do for your March meeting? How do you want to approach the next step? You've gotten a lot of information. Now what do you want to do with it? How do you, the Youth Council of Hardyville, how do you take the next step to help the Hispanic community adjust to their new environment? So, Ms. Mayor, direct the council. You have a few minutes. What do you want to do for March?
Okay, Mia, you may go first.
Okay, so I appreciate everyone coming out and giving us all your lovely ideas. But the one that I think will be the right directive is first, as you stated, social media. Start there with the youth. Let's get them involved, because once you have the kids involved, they can go back and tell their parents, like, hey. And then we can do that, and then, give out food or like some kind of community event to bring them in. So start with social media. Then from there, find an event to do, like some type of food giveaway. You know, cook something they love. You know, everybody love to eat. Everybody love to come out, come as one. So that would be a good way to start. And then, so yeah.
When they finish, I don't want to interrupt. When they finish.
You have to be recognized by the chair.
Yes.
And so you're doing the right thing. You raise your hand, and when the mayor is ready to recognize you, she'll recognize you.
Yes.
Thank you for this information. We have the same information for the Mexican consul that was here like 3 weeks ago. They are coming in March. Then I'm sure the consul, the Mexican consul, can meet in, if you like, with the parents and the children in the rec center, and they talking to them straight with the information. It's the same thing, but in Spanish because they don't speak English. Then they give us to, I don't know if you know Alberto Ortega from Bakeba magazine. He have a Facebook, radio information, you know, he interview people from attorneys. He can actually interview you guys, and you can spread the word and interview the mayor also. But to speak in Spanish, somebody have to translate because this goes straight to the community, and is the way that you can inform all this right. And asking if you need it, I have envelopes that they deliver in my business, and I think so in all the Spanish business they have it, an envelope with everything that say here, but in Spanish if you need it. And if you want to meet in the consul, the Mexican consul, just let me know and we can set up an appointment, and he can give you a guide like this, you know, and better advisement. I think so will be something really good for your group. Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Blanca, is there a date set up for that?
I think so. It's
Already
March
put-
13th.
March 13th at the rec center.
No, they are coming to my office to give passport and everything else, passport, IDs. But that will be great if they can meeting with you and with the students, and I'm sure they will love it. We just need to set up the appointment before.
Chief? Chief, would you do me a favor?
Do whatever you need.
Would you go to the side door and let my wife in?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, Mia.
Again, I'd like to say thank you all for coming out, but I also have to go. Have a senior night I have to get to. Yeah. So I appreciate all of you, and I hope you all have a very good night.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. As Mia stated, it's a great idea. I think to be able to start the process is to get the community out, have, like you did hot dogs, have burritos. Go ahead and create an event. And like I said, the 4-letter word free, and give out burritos. That's your opportunity to engage with the community and pass out the information that you want to give out. You just heard from the assistant chief of police. He had some brand new information. That's great information to give out to the community because, yes, people are scared for what's going on right now within the past couple of months. So that information that you just gave out, you give like a little flyer pamphlet, and that will have some ease as far as bridging that gap between government and the community. And that way they can see, because it's not only just government and community. We can just look at each other and I don't know what's your favorite color or anything like that until we communicate and then we sit down. And the last thing that I wanted to say that I didn't have an opportunity to say at the beginning is, if you don't have a love for your community, then you're not going to know what's around you. I serve in many different boards, and it's different ages, demographic, and I'm involved. If you don't get involved in your own backyard, you're not going to know what your backyard has. So that's very important. School boards, council meeting, um, these events at schools or Jasper County Chamber, things like that. That way you know who you are dealing with and who Jasper County truly is. Okay? By going to every single event that is going on. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dave, do you have any ideas what we should do for our March meetings?
Okay. Obviously, we need to deal with the whole struggle or like communication issue, and the March meeting would be a perfect place to give out information, like you said, because as we have heard from each speaker, the lack of easy access to information is the main issue over here, and how we present it and to who do we give, right? So during our next meeting, we can talk about the more of the specifics, but right now we got a general idea about what we need to do and how we're going to do it. And we have decided social media, of course. That would be the platform we'll be mainly focusing on. But the event we are organizing in the library, right?
The
Library.
well, that was one of the venues that we talked.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, it's up to you to decide.
Okay. Oh yeah. Can we ask them if that would be a great venue, because their opinion would affect this. Yeah. So we were deciding a get together, like event for Latinos, right? And the venue we had in mind was the library. I forgot the name. Sorry.
The community room at Hardyville.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about it? That would be a great venue for this event, right? Or do you have a better venue in mind?
For what event specifically? Is it to just get like food, like get?
That would be food, yeah. And
It all depends on the space that you have in.
That's what you have to decide. And Ms. Mayor, may I be recognized?
Yes.
See, it even applies to me. Because of we're at our time, and this conversation is going to be a little lengthier. What I would suggest to the council is that you target for your event the April meeting, and that the March meeting, you come together, you have all this information, and you work out a plan on what you want to do. Do you want to invite people to the library and just hand them out this? Do you want to have back here, we have little kitchens, We could set something up with the police department. Come meet the police department. We could invite our panelists to come and speak to it. Whatever you want, but I think you need more time, and that you could devote the whole hour next month to deciding what you want to do. And then April, which is your last month, actually hold the event. And one of the things that you want to try to do, and somebody, I forget who mentioned it, you want to establish something that can be passed down. It just doesn't end in April when you graduate and you go on to something else. Create something that you can pass down, not only to your community, but maybe to future youth councils, but also to your high schools and everybody in there. One of the things you could maybe create a thing on how to interact with new students. Be nice. It was brought up, several people, just be nice. Show them that you care. So if that's okay with you, that's what I would suggest, is adjourn here. March, we'll discuss what you want to do, and then have a final event, whatever you decide, and we could do whatever you want. You want to make tamales back here and burritos and invite everybody?
Carne
We
asada.
have-
Noted.
And then, so this way you can have more time to decide exactly what you want to do. in 5 minutes, it's not enough time.
If I may,
Yes.
regardless of what you do, the fact that you are here today it's outstanding. And if I may, because I don't know that I will see you again, hopefully I will. In any field or anything that you set your mind out to do, make it count, make a difference, be kind, make whatever industry you end up in better for your community, better for that industry. It will be your responsibility. It's our responsibility now, and we are doing what we can. It will be your responsibility when you get to that point. Embrace it and run with it. Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you so much for coming. Leslie, do you have anything?
Well, the actual mayor said to adjourn here, but I wanted to say something about our next meeting. I really like the idea that Miss Martinez had brought up about the event on March 13th. I was thinking maybe either the mayor or one of us could go and represent us and let them know that we are going to have an upcoming event to get that word out and spread it, and just invite them. But I'm not sure about what actually we should do. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now the meeting is adjourned.
Okay, so that was a real good idea. Your event is on the 13th?
Yes.
Okay, the next council meeting is, let me just get to the calendar. March 12th is the second Wednesday in March, so the night before. Blanca, did you recommend that perhaps a representative speak to the youth council on the 12th, the night before, or just have us go to you on the 13th?
No, I prefer that you make an appointment with him. He will be so honored that the students and you try to reach him and have a meeting special for you. Like
Okay.
sit down right here and doing the same thing, but with you.
Okay, I'll make that arrangement. So, what you might want to plan to do, all of you, one of you, two of you, is I'll be in touch with Ms. Martinez, and if you want to go to that event on the 13th, it might be helpful. So what I'm going to do is put all four of our panelists and all five of you on the follow-up summary email so that we can all communicate together. So if there are any further questions, you can reach out and ask one of our panelists a question that you didn't think of tonight, okay? So on behalf of the city, I want to thank the four of you for joining us tonight. This was, I think, the students learned a lot. Chief Scott, thank you very much for your insights as well. And this was really wonderful. So thank you for taking the time to meet with us.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much.